I'm Wally, and welcome to this episode of Car Talk with Wally. So, today on the Car Talk snippet, I'm going to discuss my 3 reasons why my next vehicle will be electric. Well, I don't want to promise that, but most likely, if not the next vehicle, it'll be the vehicle after that. So, we'll see how it all aligns. But the first reason being performance. I know that in the last video, I just talked about how I love the performance of a traditional internal combustion engined vehicle. However, what I mean by performance is not just your 0 to 60 power, not just the instant torque that an electric car has, but performance meaning that electric cars are generally more efficient. If we want to get all nerdy and stuff, essentially, when we look at a traditional vehicle, you put gas in a car and then it needs to be converted to some sort of usable energy or usable power. So, with that being the case, traditional vehicles are only about 25 to 35% efficient, meaning its conversion from its energy source to essentially power to create the power that's necessary to propel the vehicle. So because electricity is, the forefront of an electric vehicle, you put in electricity and you get out electricity, essentially. So the conversion of all of these happenings makes electric vehicles more efficient. And, I respect that. I really do respect that, because if you think back to the early 20th century, where it was pretty much a competition between electric vehicles and gas powered vehicles, it was this debate going on, okay, what technology is going to take the forefront?
This thing went 100 miles on a charge. At the turn of the century, there were 15,000 of them in New York City. You could drive. There were charging stations all over the city.
Really?
Yeah.
There were 15,000 of these
Oh,
cars?
yeah, they were all over the place. There were a lot of them.
It was pretty much because of, oil was in abundance, and those oil companies, even all the way back then, they had a lot of influence in the government, and just to create this mammoth that is the oil industry, and gas being abundant the way it is today. So it essentially won over, as far as electric vehicles versus gas. So that's why you'll see this reemergence, all of a sudden. But it's not new technology by any means. So with all of that being said, electric vehicles were always the most efficient. It's just gas went over. That's it. So the second being is convenience. And that was actually a strike in my last video. But what I mean by convenience is that we're just seeing the forefront of this infrastructure of electric vehicles. Charging stations, they are becoming more prevalent. There's a lot of different companies that source them, connect them to your home, all of that. So they're going to be in pretty good abundance eventually, although they are not now. So with that being said, I do enjoy the convenience or the possibility, once I provide myself with the correct infrastructure and get my plug in the garage, and maybe even get my solar panels and all of that good stuff, then it's just like convenience for me. It's like I come home, I plug the car up, unplug it when it's done, or come out the next morning, and then it's to go. And I'm only paying a certain amount because I'm already feeding into my existing grid. And of course, when I go out on long distances, long trips, that requires me to charge elsewhere. However, because of navigation systems and sophistication, you know where those charging stations are, and you can pretty much plan out your trips depending on where those charging stations are. I do get a little concerned about that, because what if the next charging station is like 30 miles outside of the direction that I'm going in. So that is a fear currently, but it probably won't be an issue in the future. So the other thing being that they're only going to get better with time. You know, electric vehicles are, it's that steady growth. You know, the first car was not that great. It didn't have a lot of features. It didn't even have a lot of convenience because you had to actually go outside and crank the car up. Of course, electric cars are not that extreme right now, but they are just going to get better with time. The charging times are going to decrease. You're going to be able to get out more power per battery pack because the technology is just going to become more sophisticated, but also reliability. You know, there's less moving parts in electric vehicles, so there's less opportunities for parts to break and all of that good stuff. So I think we just haven't seen the beginning of it just yet. You know, I think it's going to be a lot of progression that's going to happen. Of course, you're going to lose a lot of that emotion and a lot of that passion when you transfer over to electric vehicle, but I think they're going to get pretty creative with it. So, but anyway, that is all I have for this particular Car Talk snippet. So look out for more to come. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you very much. Peace and blessings.